Lots of people dream of raising and having a big family of their own, but unfortunately, anybody who lives in China does not have that opportunity or that advantage to do so. Lots of people know that China is well known for their one-child policy, which is China enforces each family and each household to only raise and have one child. I believe that this has a lot to do with China's population, just because China's population is very large already and there isn't much space. But what we really do not have, or what we really do not know, is what effects this have on the family and what are the consequences to this policy if the rules were to ever be broken. So around 2017, China's population was about 1.386 billion. And just in about a year and a half, in 2019, this population grew to be about 1.435 billion, which is now why it is known as the largest country in the world. So which is why China enforces this rule, because the more kids that are born in China, the less space China is going to have for anything else. And how this really affects the families is that people who want large families cannot have that. Any woman that has or are expecting twins, sometimes they are forced to give one of the twins up for adoption, which can be really hard separating twins at birth. And it's also a sad case, because having one twin living in China and having the other one living somewhere else, what are the chances of these twins ever coming back together again? They would have to abort in some cases as well. Also, according to PBS.org, sometimes this can ruin relationships, just because it is a hard policy to really process. And just another reason is because if your partner isn't there for you, a lot of tension can rise up between you guys and just have everything going downhill. Another thing is that women can't freeze their eggs in China just because of the rule that they enforce. So if they were ever to freeze their eggs or have the idea to do so, they would have to fly out of China and find somewhere that does that for them. And China also enforces the women to take birth control just to reduce the risks of them getting pregnant again. Some of the consequences of having a second child will be having the families or the households pay very large fine bills and forced abortions, or sometimes the houses in China will have to be destroyed. An interesting fact is that China does prefer boys over girls. So if they found out that the family was having a second pregnancy and it was a boy, they will sometimes let the mothers keep the child. But if it was a girl, they would have an abortion, which is why the abortions, the rate has increased just a little bit. And it also increased the number of girls who have been to orphanages or who have went off into orphanages. So in all of that, women can't have big families, and many are against abortions, but living in China, no women have the right to say no, because it's something that they do enforce. And this policy does leave lots of negative effects on people's lives. So hopefully in the near future, this policy does change and the women and households can raise and maintain as many children as they want.